So yeah, it's inevitable. These people are going to start to buy the key infrastructure, and then from there they're going to, I would say attack, regulate what they can't buy.
So the first one was BlackRock partners with Coinbase. So this is, I was just saying before we started, to me, it sounds negative because it's like Coinbase is clearly like some kind of like investigation system that tracks all of your movements, right? And for BlackRock to partner with them, it doesn't sound like anything that ethical is going on there, but Brian Armstrong, the CEO, he did an interview on Lex Friedman's podcast the other day. He seems like a nice guy face to face, but like they didn't really talk much about the tracking shit that he's doing. And so it's like another Mark Zuckerberg situation where the guy's got power and he's becoming corrupt over time with it. And I don't think he even realizes it himself, But I guess someone's going to do it. Someone's going to track the Bitcoin blockchain. So might as well be him.
Yeah, it's just it just seems like they're going to come in one by one and pick up all the Web 2.5 infrastructure pieces they can. Coinbase is an obvious one. It's only a matter of time before the rest of them are owned by BlackRock or what's the other, Vanguard. So yeah, it's inevitable. These people are going to start to buy the key infrastructure, and then from there they're going to, I would say attack, regulate what they can't buy. So I think there's going to be a shopping spree, especially during this bear market. There's going to be so many companies going belly up. We're seeing, I think, Chase was interested in some of these other ones that are going belly up. So yeah, they're going to come in like sharks, and yeah, it's not going to be the Coinbase you used to know. It's going to be 10 times worse, and all the other exchanges are going to be pretty much the same. You're pretty much dealing with government agencies at this point. So it's not going to be nearly as friendly as it was before.
Well, it's going to be this. Friendly. It's going to be regulatory capture and a shakedown and a carve up. Mm-hmm. So they'll come to some arrangement with this out of control SEC, and there'll be last man standing, or there'll be hardly any legal exchanges in the US. And all, as far as I can see, all crypto development work and it should all come to a halt in America as fast as possible. Anybody in America who thinks that they can do Bitcoin dev or because everything that has a corporate structure is going to be attacked by the SEC, and all these Bitcoin maximalists thinking that they're going to escape the wrath of the SEC. It's just nonsense. The SEC will call everything a regulatable security as far as they're concerned. And the Bitcoin maximalists who think that they're going to escape by unnoticed, it's not going to work. And even worse, standing there pointing the finger and saying, how we test everything that they call a shitcoin, it's just going to make it worse for them. So I have no sympathy, none. But, America is going to doom itself for this.
Yeah, I mean, they went after poker simply because they were saying, well, terrorists could be sending money to one another. It's like, through poker, really?
They went after poker.
They went after it
because Las Vegas told them to, And,
they slapped it on the end of a terrorist bill. I remember very clearly. It was like George Washington. It was like a fly-by-night. But the point was, overnight, every person playing online poker was now a criminal. It was illegal to do that. It was one day perfectly fine. Pay your taxes, everything's good. The next night you wake up, you're a criminal. And people are going to have the same effect with crypto when they realize, I have a Bitcoin wallet that's not KYC. I'm now a criminal in the United States, considered doing something illegal in the United States. So people need to be prepared for this. Wake up. I mean, if they think that they're going to not control every aspect of crypto in these big countries like the United States, Europe, etc., you're going to have some bad times. So it's time to start thinking about a relocation move, because this is just the start.
They call me terrorist Dan.
Mm-hmm. One day,
well, they've got two. I mean, they've only got two real things. It's pedophile or terrorist. That's it. Oh, and somebody please think of the children. It's either the children or the terrorists. That's it. That's their game.
But don't worry, no, because I'd rather be. You could get away with being a drag queen these days. That's fine. Get in the libraries. Dance like a drag queen. You'll be fine.
And it's all done in the best possible taste.
For sure. Yeah. Well, this is interesting as well, because I mean, it's going to come. Like, I feel like they're going to blacklist. They're going to start by blacklisting coins. So any addresses that aren't, well, they're doing this in the EU already, right? So any addresses that aren't KYC'd. So if you're sending money from an exchange out to a non-KYC'd account, well, probably the exchange will block you to start off with. And secondly, if you are sending money out to that account, then other businesses will be instructed not to accept those tokens. Otherwise, you could be a nefarious actor.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they're doing it with anything that goes through CoinJoin on Bitcoin. So if you if you run CoinJoin and you pass some Bitcoins through, or if you're given some, and this is, I know this from the Lightning guys, because they're all doing CoinJoins and so on. And then you open a channel with someone, and when you get the coins back, you have no idea where they're going to come from when a channel closes. It's going to get a mess, because once you've stepped into this world where Bitcoin is not fungible, oh my God, then it's a pivotal.
It's interesting, because I guess it could be probably a technical solution to it, but I think there's also an ideology that we need to come up with behind the scenes that form the foundations of this, because we are going to have to combat this. And it's like, well, if your crappy ass businesses are just going to say, well, we got to do what the government says, so we'll only accept KYC coins or or whitelisted coins, right? Well, maybe we need to start businesses that say we don't accept whitelisted coins. We only accept coins that are blacklisted. Or something along those lines. It forms some kind of foundation that says we are not operating in your system. Done. There's no two ways about this. There's no compromise here. We are building a new system, and wherever your system comes near, we will move away from it. That's what we've been doing for the last 13 years. I don't see why we can't figure out a way around this, because it's coming. We can say, we'll move to another country, but you're still going to have these blacklisted coins. And I'm like, well, I would rather have the blacklisted coins, because anything that's outside of your system is better, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't give a shit where it comes from. If it's outside your system, it's better, because your system is the most fucked up, corrupt thing in history ever, and anything else is basically better. So bring on the blacklisted tokens, and let's find out ways to deploy these blacklisted tokens to give them value.
So we have to start tracking every coin that comes out of Coinbase and say that Bitcoin's no good here.
Yeah, I mean, why would you want to accept Coinbase coins?
Yeah, because they're trackable.
They're trackable. Coinbase is doing the job to track them for you to the government. Why would you accept Coinbase coins? It puts you on the system. Aren't we? Isn't this whole movement about keeping away from it? And then on top of that, it's like, well, maybe the idea that the Fed can't just print dollars to pay off futures contracts to short Bitcoin, and therefore can't just, the Fed has the ability to print Bitcoins because it's got the monopoly over the dollar, right? Why are we even giving this any credibility at all? Why are the people in Web 2.5 submitting themselves to this ridiculous system? It has to be that the system that prints the money is autonomous and ownerless, right? And then everything else after that can follow. If you've got an own system like the Fed that can now print money and short futures or buy futures for free, so effectively meaning they can also print Bitcoins, and then say, oh, this is whitelisted and blacklisted. What on earth are we doing taking part in that? There should be a protest, in my opinion.
That's why DEXs are going to be incredibly important. And it's really, if we look at the beginning of this, the internet is what started the separation of power, right? Like before the internet, you really couldn't raise a community, contact other people. It was much harder to organize digitally. Now we're in a place, we saw what happened to files. They're like, oh, you better not get caught using torrents, or we're going to come kick in your door. And they maybe caught one guy. And then until this day, there's still illegal torrents. And it just changed how files were given. It made the ad, here's, free service. We'll run ads behind that. And we've seen this go through pretty much everything. And now, of course, with the internet and blockchain, we're talking about digital assets. We saw what they do. Right? They conquer every single infrastructure piece that's convenience, and then they're going to blackwall you and say, you can't come in here unless you play by our rules. And if we don't have any alternatives that are censorship resistant, then it's as good as useless, because people will comply because they won't have any other choice. They won't know how. So we have to get to a point where we have to give people a golden bridge to escape to, right? It's like, oh, we don't want this. And if they turn around, they see this technology that's, it's affordable. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg to use. It's, it's mobile, all the things that they need. We'll have a big chance. We could really play this like a Justin Sun attack, where the governments around the world that are corrupt really just squeeze all their citizens out. Maybe not physically, but, they'll find ways to get out digitally. And yeah, I think there's going to be a great squeeze coming. There's going to be a lot of people comply. I think it's going to be up to the communities at large to build the life rafts, because if people don't have a place to go, they're going to be cornered. And we don't want, why let it get to that point? At least give them an out.
Yeah, I mean, there needs to be a kind of shaming thing where it's like, if you're complying with Coinbase, we don't want to have anything to do with you, Like, if you're complying with the system, and now you're telling me, oh, my coins are whitelisted and yours are blacklisted, so mine are worth more than yours. Like, you've already failed. You've already failed in the mission of this stuff, And it should be publicly shamed in many ways, Oh, you're running a whitelisted business. What are you doing that for with crypto? Like, you're just basically part of the beast system. What are you doing? So, why did we even bother building any of this shit in the first place if that's the way they're going to behave?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's a fork in the road coming up, and it's going to be interesting to see what people do. I trust in people knowing right from wrong, and they're going to realize that, hey, it's a little hot in here, and they're going to turn around and see a fucking fire, and I think that they're going to have to react. So, what that reaction will be, we'll have to see.
Yeah, and at that point, the ability for them to say it's real money, this, my pounds are real money and your Bitcoin's pretend money. It's like, especially once it goes CBDC, it's just going to be like, bro, how are you got nothing, you got no legs left to stand on. So I think we can, just on an ideological level, just effectively shame people into not using the beast system, as it were, and trying to use something that's not owned by anybody.